calling to order the Town of Londonderry Zoning Board of Adjustment for March 19th, 2025. Before we start our meeting this evening, I'd like to go over the procedures. The clerk will read the case into the record. The applicant will please come to the two chairs here, and you will make your presentation. The board will address the applicant with any questions or comments. Those that are in favor of the request are given the opportunity to address the board. Those opposed or having questions regarding the request are given the opportunity to also address the board. The applicant will be given the opportunity to rebut any opposition, and the opposition is given the opportunity for any rebuttal. The board addresses the applicant with any additional comments or questions. If there are none, then at that time, the public hearing portion regarding the case will be closed, at which time the board will enter into deliberation and vote on the request or continue the case to a future date. Those who wish to speak, whether you're for or against, please come to the mic, the podium with the single mic. State your name and address for the record. And we ask that it is a one-way conversation. You will not be speaking directly to the applicant. You'll be speaking to the board. The board will then ask the applicant. That way we are speaking in one voice. We ask that you either turn your cell phones to vibrate or off during the meeting. You can stay for the results, or you can go to the town the following day for the results. First order of business. Oh, we have to, that's right. Okay, we are going to introduce ourselves before we start the meeting. Kelly, would you start us off?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kelly Karen, I'm the Assistant Town Manager and Director of Economic Development.
Kristen Farr, Town Planner.
And Lisa Sussman, I'm Zoning Board Alternate.
Brennan O'Brien, full member.
Jackie Bernard, full member.
Suzanne Purnell, full member.
Mitch Feig, full member.
Bob Robacek, alternate member.
So the first order for this evening, pardon?
You're going to appoint Bob as a voter.
Oh, that's right. I just put him in automatically. I'd like to nominate Rob for voting this evening so that we have a full quorum of 5. The first order of business is the draft minutes that we have to approve from December 18th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the draft minutes from December 2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
It was one.
Next up for order is report by the Town Council Liaison. Do we have any this evening?
He is here. He is our new town liaison.
Welcome.
See how excited we are to have you.
Good evening. Madam Chair, just appointed on Monday for
Congratulations.
being the liaison to the ZBA. I have nothing to report. If you have
What's
any
your name,
questions.
sir?
Oh, Dan Bouchard.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Nice to meet you.
So if you have any questions or anything, hopefully our email will get squared away soon, and you can email me. All right?
Yeah, we often have ideas, so we'll keep you posted.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Kelly, regional impact determinations?
Yes, Madam Chair. The cases before you this evening, staff is recommending they are not of regional impact.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the regional impact determinations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And this brings us to our public hearing of cases.
Ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
Case number 319-2025-1, a request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.3.a.i to allow a sign within 15 feet of the property line, whereas no sign shall be located nearer than 15 feet to the property line. Parcel is located at 15 Rockingham Road in the C2 zoning district, tax map 13, lot 99, Alfred and Nicole Pittori, owner and applicant.
And are the applicants here? Please come to the front, have a seat. Have you ever done this before?
No.
Okay, we'll help you out.
Okay.
So what you're gonna do is just state your name and address for the record.
Nicole Pittori, P.O. Box 1691, Derry, New Hampshire, or 15 Rockingham Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire.
And did you bring the paperwork that you filled out?
Yes.
So that's the 5 points of law. So you can either go right into the 5 points of law, which is you will read into the record your application, or you can tell us a little bit about your application and then go into the 5 points of law. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Do I just read everything? that
You
I-
can.
Oh, okay.
Start A.
Yeah, start with the very first
One.
first one for your facts supporting this request. Do you see that?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So, a variance is requested from section 76B3 of the zoning ordinance for the following reasons. So what I wrote was moving the sign, my business sign, from its current 23-foot location. I was actually given this when I first started. Do I have that as exhibit? Okay, I think you have a copy of that. But this is what I was given by the town.
Okay.
And it's very clearly written 23 feet with a red arrow. I didn't write anything on it. This is what I was given. And I mistakenly thought that is where the sign has to go, from 23 feet and back, anywhere beyond 23 feet. Because that's what I was shown. And I started this a few years back. So when I finally went to install the sign, I wanted to make sure that I did everything right. So I came to the town just before my installer, Guy Nelson, Nelson Signs, he was going to install the sign within that week. So I came to the town and asked them if they could inspect the area. And I was told, because I want to make sure it was in the right location, and I was told, no, we don't, that's not how we do it. We inspect it after it's been put in. But I was just trying to make sure that I had it right. And so I had 23 feet. And there was a person in the office that did say that that looks right. She just said, it does look right. That looks like what they want, 23 feet. So I mistakenly went with the 23 feet. But if you look to the far left, there's a little 15 that was written, a tiny 15. And I did not see that. I did not realize that it was 15 feet beyond the 23 feet, beyond the blue line. I did not know. And I did try to do my due diligence by coming in, asking please to make, please to come out and look at the inspect the two spray mark where we were going to put the sign before I put the sign in, but it's not the way it's done. So I checked with a personnel, and she said that looks what you should do, 23 feet beyond, beyond that. So we had the sign installed, and it's a very big sign. It's Exhibit A. It's a huge sign, and it's I think 3,700 pounds. It's huge, and it costs a lot to install it. And my installer, Guy Nelson, said to not only is it going to cost a lot to move it, but it's going to probably damage the sign the way he installed it, because there's a bar across the bottom under the ground. So, and then Exhibit B, this is one of Exhibit B's, and it shows other businesses right nearby. This one, let's see, right nearby that have signs very close to the road. This one is Brothers is 16 feet, and it's only right down the street. The other one is 26 feet from the road. Mine is 23 feet from the road. Stumble-In is 23 feet from the road. So it's very similar to all the other businesses in the area. I understand that they've been grandfathered in.
Well, depending when they came for that. So what we'll do is we'll address yours.
Okay.
So your sign is installed, and that's why you're here for this evening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
did you want to go through does anybody have any questions?
I'm a
of
little
her?
unclear.
Okay.
How far off from the property line is the sign?
From the white line, it's 23 feet.
From your
I do
property
have
line?
let me see, and, oh, Exhibit D shows my sign is 23 feet, and what they would like it to be is 38 feet. If you see Exhibit D, and it's not much different, it's just a little bit set back further into the woods. It's this one, yeah, Exhibit D. So the first arrow on the far right is where my sign is located, and then what they'd like it to be is closer to the stream. There's a stream right there. So I thought, it's so close to the stream. It's kind of on a curve where nobody would see it so deep into the wooded area. So it sort of defeats the purpose of having the sign. Where the sign is right now, it doesn't interfere with visibility in any way. I've had it there almost a year now, and it hasn't caused any issues. I haven't heard any complaints.
I asked her how many.
If you look at exhibit, let me see my sign. Let's see.
Yes, which I said. don't
This
from your
is the
property
wooded
line.
area.
Look at the thing.
I don't know if you have.
Yep, we have that
Okay.
picture, yep.
That's where they want it. That's right where it would be. And if you look beyond the sign, if it were there, it's just the stream and the woods. It's kind of so far off the road that you can't really see it. When you're driving by, you won't even, you'd miss the sign, and there's no purpose to having it so far back off the road. See, that's a picture of where the sign is,
Yes.
and it's clearly not impeding or interfering with anyone else or visibility in any way.
Can I just, Madam Chair, if you don't mind?
Yes,
So
please.
the requirement is 15 feet. That's a setback requirement. The sign is within the 15-foot setback. I don't know the exact number, but
It's hard to make a recommendation if we don't have a
I
real
could
number.
pull up the GIS if you'd like, and we could measure, because we have the white line measurement.
Okay,
and-
that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Is this sign size-wise?
So
So I'm reading what
just
the
a little bit of,
requirement is.
it's, if you scroll down.
Here's a picture. The sign is,
Yeah, if you just click it.
it is 10 feet by 10 tall, but it's 6 by 10 is the,
So,
and I asked,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I asked Nick what the dimensions were.
65.
Yeah, so that was approved, and I got that map at that time that I spoke to I went into the office to ask if I could put a sign up. And, where is that sign? And then, that's when I got this map. They gave me the map, printed
Yes, you-
out, made the markings, and said, this is what you have to follow.
Yep, I'm just
6
asking what
by
the size
10.
of the sign was.
Yeah.
So the square footage is fine,
Fine.
that's not an issue. It's
Very
just
good.
their setback.
Thank you.
Julie, the section they cited was from the property line, not necessarily from the road, right? Are they saying that,
That's, yes, she went from the road.
So, here we go.
That's what it is.
If you measure.
okay, so you're saying they went into the right of way and, very confused.
Exactly.
Oh, she was confused. Just give her-
Exactly what it is. You nailed it.
I have
Reading the points will let me and we get it.
Yeah, she has to read the pencil. Okay,
I have one more point as well. When I measured, there was a line, you can see it's kind of faded. When I measured from there in, and I spray marked where my sign guy should put the sign. And then now that, about a year late, almost a year later, there's a new line, and the line has moved. So it's not even where it was originally. I originally had measured from here. So now the new line shows a little bit shorter even, but it wasn't.
you understand that you were not supposed to be going from that line, right? You understand you're going from your property line.
Correct.
I was told from my map, they always use the
Okay,
language white line.
so you don't understand, so you know it's run from your property line.
Okay, I was told from the white line, 23 feet in is, I guess that's
I don't know
where
what
my
23
property line starts. Is that correct?
You don't know, so it sounds like you're saying that somebody may have told you that 8 feet from the white line is your property line. That's what it sounds like, but I'm not sure that that's.
No,
accurate.
I think what happened was they said 23 from the white line, and that's why they made this marking. It must have been that's where my property line starts, is that right? 23 feet from the
We'd be
white
guessing.
line?
We'd be guessing.
But it's okay. We can,
Oh, I was,
we can move on.
the misunderstanding was I went by the diagram I was given.
Because if this is 20 points. And it's into this.
They're doing the measurement right now.
Where is the sign?
That's what I just said.
The only way to have this survey the property or use
Is Exhibit A where your sign is right now?
Exhibit A.
You're putting a sign
Yeah,
like that?
yep, that's what it looks like.
That's where it is right now.
That's where it is right now. It was installed one time, and that's where it is at the moment. But an Exhibit A shows it, it's not interfering with any visibility.
We're all in agreement. Okay, we'll sit here.
So if you'd like, start with the first on your application. So what you're going to do is you're going to read
One.
number 1, which is going to be on your first page, and it's right under facts supporting this request. So you're going to start there. That's
Okay.
the first point, 5 points of law, so just read from that going on.
Okay. Point number 1, the variance will not contrary to the public interest. So what I wrote was, the current location of the sign is not contrary to the public interest because it does not pose a threat to the general welfare of the public, or it does it does not pose any safety or health concerns. The position of the sign is set back enough so as to not to obstruct view in any way. Only trees and woods are behind the sign. Please see Exhibit A. That's Exhibit A. The current position of the sign has been there for almost a year with no complaints or issues to date. Oh, go on to the next one?
Yes, keep going.
Okay, number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The current placement of the sign, which has been in place since 2024, April, has proven to have no negative impact to the surrounding neighbors or businesses, nor does it diminish the values. Similar business signs in close vicinity are a lot closer to the road and does not pose any negative issues. That's Exhibit B. Exhibit B.
Go ahead and continue.
Number 3, substantial justice is done. Please see Exhibit B. That's the one. I don't believe there would be any type of loss or injustice to the general public due to allowing the sign to remain in its current position and not moving it. Its current placement is due to a misunderstanding of the topography picture that I was given. And when I tried to do my due diligence, asking for an inspection of the placement before the sign was installed, and I was told that was not policy to come out and inspect it before. A comment was made by a town personnel that led me to believe 23 feet was correct, giving me false sense of security. But I agree that was my fault. I just thought that she said it was okay, and so it was my fault that I went along with it, thinking that was fine. But I did ask for an inspection, and I wasn't able to get it. The current position of the sign, as opposed to moving it back 16 feet, I feel would not in any way affect or diminish the value of the surrounding properties or alter the integrity of the area. Continue. I keep going.
Keep going.
Last one.
I'll just jump down to where I began, let's see where I wrote, I feel I have a unique situation which deems enforcing this rule unfairly impacts the purpose of the, and visibility of my sign's location. Placing the sign so far off the road, considering the unique characteristics of my property and the curve of the road, creates a disadvantage setting apart from other businesses, other business properties in the area that have their signs closer to the road, which is why I feel a variance is needed. Please see Exhibit B. It should, just so it shows all the other properties that are close to the road with their signs. The purpose, the proposed current use in a reasonable one among many reasons mentioned because of poor visibility. The oncoming traffic cannot see the sign if it is set back so far due to the curve in the road. See Exhibit C. See, there's a big curve in the road, so there's nothing, you won't, unless you're almost past it and have to turn all the way to the right, you can't see the sign at all. I went on to say the proposed current use is a reasonable one. Okay. I feel many properties' specific physical layouts pose issues with placing the sign so close to the stream due to its erosion that could cause stability concerns as well. My sign person said that setting it so far in the woods near the stream, it could erode and kind of collapse. There's not as much support near the stream. See Exhibit D.
Okay.
That's Exhibit D. It just shows where the stream is, and it's just right, like, almost on the corner of the stream.
And Kelly, did we have a
So, yes, thank you.
measurement?
Just based on the testimony this evening, it sounds as if the red arrow was used as a reference point for the installation of the sign. So I think just to be overly conservative, I would say she's encroaching 10 feet into the setback because it, based on the physical references such as the guardrail, it's within about 5 feet of the property line.
Okay.
Hopefully that made sense.
Yes, I actually understood that.
Okay.
Do any board members have questions for the applicant? Mitch, you have no questions?
I've been question-free.
Question-free, okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. I'd like to take it out to the public. Was anyone in opposition of the applicant that would like to speak? Let the record show that no one is coming forward. Is anyone for the applicant that would like to speak? Let the record show no one is approaching. All right, so she's encroaching 10 feet into the setback. What is your sign made of? What is it? Is it steel? Is it
It was.
is it a wood sign or?
No, it's, not, it's, I have, let's see if,
It's metal?
oh.
I think it
this-
says
The
aluminum.
only thing I have.
Aluminum? Okay.
Oh, yeah, aluminum construction with raised acrylic letters, poles, set 3.
Is the sign lit?
No,
Okay. Did you have any sign at all on your property before for this?
a little paper sign at one time, but it was just to let someone know, or people know where we are located if they want to come in.
Because you really can't see it coming from the other way. It's only one way that you can actually see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, take it back to the board one last time. Anyone have any questions? No? Okay. This portion of the hearing is now closed. We'll go into deliberations. Do we have to hash out anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, do you have any questions, Lisa? Okay, very good. Let's go into the 5 points of law.
Granting the variance would or would not be contrary to the public interest because? I would say it would not.
I agree.
I would
agree.
agree, it doesn't alter the character of the neighborhood.
Right.
I agree.
That's the neighborhood.
I agree.
A lot of signs.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Spirit of the ordinance would or would not be observed because? I would say it would. No threat to health, safety, public welfare.
I agree.
I agree, I drove by there, I couldn't,
Go by 2 days ago,
Determine-
actually.
I couldn't determine an
That is the
obstacle.
purpose of the ordinance, so.
Yeah, I couldn't determine that it was any site, I mean, for my non-scientific ability, it didn't seem to impact sites.
Granting the variance would or would not do substantial justice because? I would say it would. I think the loss to the applicant's greater than any gain to the public by denying.
I agree.
I would agree.
I would agree.
Do you agree, Susan?
I do, I agree.
Perfect.
For the following reasons, the values of the surrounding properties would or would not be diminished. I would say would not.
Would not be, agreed.
I
I
agree.
would agree as well.
The area is commercial and includes many signs.
I agree.
Owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because A1, there is or is not a fair and substantial relationship between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because I would say there,
She cites the curvature of the road.
The, she moved it to stream that
The
might,
stream and the woods. and
I
the
agree.
curvature of the road.
Visibility issue.
Kind of compendium of stuff.
Somebody did a nice job on your response number 5.
What was, I'm sorry,
Said somebody did a nice job answering the question for number
Oh.
5.
Agreed.
the proposed use is or is not a reasonable one. I would say it is.
It is
Signs are
reasonable,
reasonable.
signs.
Sides are reasonable.
Comments, restrictions.
I have none. Does anyone have any?
Do we want to put the 10 feet?
No, we want to put
because
the 10
we've
feet
not
in the
mentioned
motion.
The 10 feet, I think, should be mentioned.
Yeah.
So,
Not to encroach more than 10 feet into the setback.
Yes, please. Does everyone agree on that?
Yes.
Perfect.
yeah, I do.
yeah, I hope to get to the next one.
And do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion in case number 319, 2025-1 to grant the request for a variance with the restriction that the sign is not to encroach more than 10 feet into the setback.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Robert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
In case number 319, 2025-1, the request for a variance was granted with the restriction that the sign is not to encroach more than 10 feet into the setback.
Have a good evening.
thank you so much. Thank you.
He had different ones.
There you go, sir.
You ready for the next one?
She might-
Yes, please.
I had 3, they look, you're right. Oh, you might be right.
Case number 319, 2025-2, a request for a variance from LZO Section 5.18F to allow an accessory dwelling larger than 40% of the living area of the principal dwelling and shall include 3 bedrooms, whereas the maximum size for an accessory dwelling unit shall not exceed 40% of the living space of the principal dwelling and shall include no more than 2 bedrooms. Parcel is located at 9 Beach Hill Drive in the AR1 zoning district, tax map 3, lot 116-05, John and Tina Flynn, owner and applicant.
Will the applicants please come forward? Thank you.
Hi,
Good evening. Would you state your name and address for the record?
John Flynn, and I'm here with my family and my contractor.
I'm Brett Fowler. I'm from Ware. I don't know if you want to know my address or not, but
That's good enough. And have you done this before?
No.
No.
First
Okay.
time.
Did you bring your application with you?
No, I didn't get a copy from you. I gave one to the planning board and one to the inspectors upstairs. Nick had it. He said he'll be here today with,
Here you go.
oh,
there you go.
there you go.
Okay, so would you like to tell us about why you're here, or do you want to go into the 5 points of law?
I guess
tell you.
I guess a little bit of both, right?
Okay, go
So, no, why we're here? He wants to add on to his property, and the original design was to have 2 bedrooms, but now we need to add the third because it's for his daughter and his grandchildren. So that's why it ends up going over that 40% mark, because the original design was what 26 by 26
Yeah,
or something.
24 by 30. That gave us 720 square feet to allow. But now we're asking for 24 by 36 to make the 3-bedroom for my grandkids, a boy and a girl and my daughter. And
So that it puts it to 864 square feet. So.
Yes. So we only asked for like 120 more square footage.
How many bedrooms are in the existing home?
3.
Who's in there?
What was that?
Who's in there?
My son and our daughter. Small adoption daughter. We're about to adopt a daughter, 4 years old. She's in the 3rd bedroom. And the reason why we're doing all this is for our daughter. She could be home, and my wife is ill. She could take care of her and help us out. And it would be great to have the grandkids around the neighborhood. And we do have a good neighborhood. Every neighbor that I know, they're all for this. Because they might be doing it too, because they can't afford to build a new home. Costs too much money to build a house. If they remodel, it's a lot cheaper, like I'm doing. And we're just hoping the town grants us the extra square footage that we need for 3 bedrooms. A boy, girl, and my daughter.
And you see you've given us a DES approval for 6 bedrooms,
Yes.
no septic.
So that septic is going to be updated, or it's
all
already?
brand new.
Okay,
We did
that's a
that.
new one,
Yes.
okay.
That was my first question too.
All comes back to the same point.
And it falls into all the guidelines, the
So,
neighbors.
you want to take this or you want to?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you heard the person in front of you go through the 5 criteria, that it's
That's
not
right.
going to be contrary to public interest, it's not going to change the value of the surrounding properties, substantial justice is done. And the last one is, there's something unique about your property that would allow you to get a variance, because we're all complying. Why do you get to do something different? Now, in her instance, she was talking about the road being curved. If she moved it back further, the sign was going to sink. Those are unique to her property. What is unique about your property that you should not have to go by the rules? Because we can't grant it unless you tell us something.
Sure. Well, I think in his circumstance, right, we're adding on 860 square feet, and the way the plot plan is and the way the property lines are, we're not really encroaching on anything, right? There's plenty of room there to do what he wants to do. For that, I understand like the 40% rule and stuff like that, but unfortunately, in his circumstance, right, with the hardship of his wife and the daughter that wants to move in there, and
Has to be the property.
what's that?
The hardship has to be the property, something different about the property itself. So
Okay.
keep going on the property.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's going to improve the neighborhood, because my neighborhood, okay, I know everyone there, it seems like they can't afford, okay, when their kids come home from colleges, they got nowhere to put them. Okay, like a garage, it's used for storage space. They could turn in a garage into like a small studio for their sons. If they see what we're doing, I think it'd be a great value to the neighborhood in the city. Is that what you're looking for?
So,
something like that?
so, number 5 of the 5 points of law that you have to pass the test. The fifth
Yeah,
one
can you show
is
me
the
that when I go?
hardest, okay? So the fifth one is the hardest, and it's an unnecessary hardship. Means that owing to special conditions of your property that distinguish it from other properties in the area. So
There's not
is there
another one like it.
something unique?
I can tell you that.
What's that?
I said there's not another one like it. Each property is unique in its own sense, right?
It's not a blanket type of statement that you can put there. There has to be something that's unique, that is taken into consideration so that the variance can be granted. Because, go ahead.
How big is the lot? Acreage.
What's that?
How many
How big?
acres? How big is the lot?
Oh, yeah.
How big
your
is what? I'm
property?
sorry.
Your property.
It's an acre,
1 acre?
yes. And property, the house is only like 1,400 square foot, the original house.
What year is it?
The house was built,
Yes.
I think 86,
1969.
69? Thank you.
maybe, right?
That pre-zoning?
That is pre-zoning? Right on the cusp.
He's not looking
Close.
for a variance on setbacks. He's looking for.
Okay.
We
But-
did
but-
all
but-
this work with the new septic, we always fall by the rules of the town, pulling permits.
So, he's not looking, I mean, you're right, he's not looking for a variance for a front yard setback or non-conforming use, or, I'm just gonna role play here, it's not like the current house doesn't meet setback rules and he's trying to expand it. It's really just a footage, right? And exceeding the total footage. And I have a question for Kelly. I looked at what an accessory structure was. Most places, it tends to be a separate building, you know? But I did look at the New Hampshire code description of it. I guess additions count as that as well.
Nope, so this is a detached, we allow for attached and detached ADUs.
That's what we're saying the same thing. 'Cause
Well,
a lot
it's
of
that, a detached ADU is not necessarily an addition. The
No, I understand
ADU
that.
The ADU provisions in the zoning ordinance, that's when we get specific into the percentage.
Yeah, the
because
total
it's going
footage
to be-
percentage, right.
Because it's gonna be occupied.
Yeah, I just have not seen that being actually attached to an existing facility. Usually it's a separate building, but copy, gotcha.
It's also a two-bedroom limit, and there would be 3.
Yeah. Correct, yes. Which makes them go over the footage allowed, 40%, over 40%.
Correct. I
And
think
and there's
that
no
the
front
40
yard setbacks issues, there's nothing like that. It's all about the footage, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
I have no other comments. No questions, I should say.
Brandon?
I'm just looking at the map.
What's on the back side of your property after the swimming pool?
Just a small shed,
And way back?
it's a doghouse.
No, after the tree, right before your tree lines back there, is there anything, there's some kind of a triangular piece of something denoted there?
That's
Just on-
chicken coop.
Oh, that's a
We
chicken
got
coop?
chicken coop, we got 12
Okay.
eggs a day, every other
Oh,
day.
goodness. You're gonna be a rich man.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Tough one.
Don't have any other questions. I was interested early in the definition, because it's a very unusual definition, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
it looks like it's further to the left of, the building is further to the left of the lot line than any of the houses around it, which gives him more space to the right where the proposed addition is than any of the houses around it would have.
Yeah, that's where it would be going to, is towards that white car.
Right, so it would go kind of where the driveway is now.
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, drawing shows that.
yeah. You're looking at,
And I believe, if you don't mind, okay, doing this, it might be a great thing for people to do more additions. And it was almost passed by the state last year, but they were shot down about giving 10,000 square footage on a AUD, but still coming back up in the Senate.
he's also got a drop of over 6 feet across the property, it looks like, left to right.
So you have a drop off?
Well, the grade does change from left to right, yeah.
Yeah.
It drops left to right, and you have that space left to right, so this is the only place where you could put it. And looking at the properties around you, I don't see anyone else who has that kind of grade change.
The sizes of the houses around them, are they larger?
The sizes of the houses around do look larger.
Yeah,
This
right
looks like,
across the street, they have a addition garage with a breezeway.
yeah, so right across the street, you've got, it looks like a colonial, yellow colonial. Yeah, and then it looks like you've got, so you said it's only about 1,400 square feet?
It's 1,400 square feet with the living space, and downstairs is like the boiler room, the garage we use for storage.
Right, but you don't count that towards the square footage. I think it's the smallest house I can see.
It's a split ranch,
Yep,
but there's a couple of them split ranches.
yeah.
Good
Okay.
neighborhood.
Well, it is.
So your property is unique in that essence,
Okay,
okay?
understood.
They're not gonna get them.
All right, do you want to read your 5 points of law to us?
Sure. So the first one, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. There will be no harm or violation of safety to the public. I wrote. I did have a tough time deciphering like exactly what to put down for answers in these.
I
So
have no idea.
he asked for my help, and I said I'll try my best. Second one, the spirit of the ordinance is observed, does not threaten the public health and safety or welfare of the public. Number 3, substantial justice is done. The proposal, the addition is for our daughter and grandkid to live with us and in round care. Who wrote it?
yeah,
Was I
taking care
Tina?
of
Yeah, yeah. For my wife, Tina Flynn. 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Construct 24 by 36 building addition, does not impede the neighbors. And then 5, like we just went over, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of the provision of the property, and relief can be granted to the property without frustrating the purpose of the ordinance. Number 2, the proposed use is a reasonable one. Construct 24 by 36 addition with 3 bedrooms for in-law. And then the criteria, obviously it's over the 750 square feet.
On B, that you have written, would you also like to include what makes it
Unique.
unique?
Yep.
So please state it for the record.
Oh, gotcha.
What
that-
makes this property unique?
So what makes it unique is it's one of the smaller homes in the neighborhood. And that's, right? Makes it, it's a smaller home in the neighborhood, right? So adding that kind of square footage doesn't necessarily overpower the entire neighborhood.
And it also looks like it's shifted a little bit more to the left than the other homes in the neighborhood, so it's closer to that left property line. And you've also got a drop from the left property line elevation-wise to the right property line. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So both of those are right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Thank you. I'd like to take it out to the public. Is there anyone that is in favor of the applicant that would like to speak? Let the record show no one. Is there anyone in opposition that would like to speak at this time? Let the record show there is no opposition. Bring it back to the board. Do we have any more questions of the applicant?
Nope.
Okay. And it's definitely, just for the record, the size of this is 24 feet by 36 feet.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the public portion will be closed. Do we have to hash out anything, board members?
I think I would want to talk about
Yeah, we're gonna have it.
Division 5 with the, you know, I don't see, like, usually I think if it's uniqueness of the property, right, it has to be something unique that argues in favor of the variance. And here, well, every property is unique, and we can all come here and explain why ours is unique. I see nothing on this property that says they need that the property mandates a bigger accessory dwelling. I mean, I want to get there because the story is one I want to support, but I can't get there. Otherwise, I don't know why we would ever deny it. So
If you don't mind, this property.
I'm sorry, sir, but the public part is
I was
over.
gonna try to
It's
try
over,
to make it
sir.
Unique.
So
So
this is the same as when we ask people where you're putting your shed, why does your shed have to be so big? So they can have the ADU, they just can't have it as big as they want it to have it.
Yeah, I agree with you on what you said. I'm struggling with this. The story's compelling, but, you know, I struggle with approving it because
And everyone,
I don't see a compelling reason. A lot's not that unusual. Other homes may be bigger, smaller. That doesn't compel me either. I'm struggling with number 5. Really struggling with it.
I have a whole bunch of questions on this one.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm not sure if it's within our purview.
we'll shoot you down if we have to.
Okay. So my first question is, does going from a 3-bedroom to a 6-bedroom house alter the essential character of the neighborhood?
so that's your opinion. In our opinion,
No, I'm asking, does the question, I don't know if it's an opinion.
It is, it's an
is.
opinion.
Okay,
That's what
do you
the
think
answer
it's-
is.
yes.
Okay.
It's an opinion.
Okay. There was something in the laws that said we had to review the comprehensive master plan and determine what effect it would have. Which I've not done.
Okay.
So that's that. I did note that the existing septic was rated for 5, but I believe that was clarified. The septic was upgraded to 6. Will there be a front door on this ADU?
they can have a front door and an ADU.
And will it be facing the street?
Oh, I don't-
Because that's part of the,
Plans are provided.
They would have had to ask for a variance if they wanted.
okay, so
it to.
that's not us?
It could be, if they
Well, it
said-
could be, but we're only here to discuss exactly the dimensions.
Ah,
Because
okay.
that's all they've brought in.
Because
Like,
that's
they-
all that was
they
brought
looked
in.
at- In theory, they looked at what was required.
Okay,
And in theory, decided, well, the only places we miss are, we want 3 bedrooms, it says 2. We want more than 40%, and it says we can't have that.
Can I just, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, just to
Yes.
clarify a point? So when we say they and we, I just want to be clear on who's they and we. So the typical process is, for an instance like this, somebody would come in with a building permit. It would be submitted to the building department,
Right.
and they would review the building permit, and then that's the trigger point where our zoning administrator and chief building inspector says, wait, this doesn't meet the criteria of 5.18F specifically. If there were other points within that ADU ordinance that weren't met, it's likely they would be called out as well, and you would see additional variances related to that particular section of the ordinance for the ADU.
Thank you, Kelly.
So my point is it was
You said that
reviewed
much
by
Yeah,
the
much
zoning
better.
administrator by way of a building permit. It was caught that this criteria is not met, and that's why this particular criteria is before you.
okay, so the criteria in here where it can only be 2, no more than 2 bedrooms, but this one's 3, that wasn't, that's not part of it.
No, that is.
That's why they're here.
That's why they're here,
That's one of the 2 reasons they're here.
because it was determined when they went to the building
Okay,
department that this didn't meet the criteria, so it automatically opens the door that they must come here.
So it was the 2 issues, the 3 bedrooms instead of 2,
And the square
Okay.
footage.
and the square
And the
footage.
square footage.
and does it have to have dining and bathing area?
We don't know.
That's what it says in here.
What was that part?
If it came through with just these 2 criterias that are in
That's
front of us,
what we go
then those
by.
are the 2
Okay,
we
so,
got.
okay, so we can only look at what's before us.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Now, that's,
But then that's why we ask questions of the applicant
Okay,
for clarity.
So my next question.
okay.
because usually the application doesn't it's one-dimensional, doesn't tell the whole story. So that's why the applicant can go into more detail as to why they're here.
Plus, we come here every month, and they come here usually once or twice
In a
ever.
lifetime.
In a lifetime, if
Right,
at all,
right.
right, so. So does that help? Do you have any other questions?
I just have one more. Will it be deemed workforce housing pursuant to RSA 674-59? No. Okay.
That's a completely different.
Okay. Any questions?
Do we want to hash out more, or are we?
Well, we have to make sure that, we do hash it out properly before we go into,
Okay.
so,
I don't think we have to hash it out. I think we can just, as we go one by one, we'll go the way we're feeling. You want,
We talked about it. I don't need to talk about it further, but I'm no chair here.
I'm no chair here either. Jackie.
okay. All right,
Do
well,
you think there's any benefit to giving them a chance to try to supplement the application?
Are you asking the general board?
No, I'm asking.
he's asking Ms. Chair.
I was an open mind, but
The purpose why the applicant is here, and it's more of a living hardship, because of immediate family member needing care, which causes this application to be before us, because other than that, the applicant would not be here. Because it sounds, from the applicant's testimony, they were just fine in the 1,400 square feet, and now living circumstance has caused the need for additional living space in order to take care of an immediate family member, a close family member, the applicant's wife. So knowing that it is not part of the 5 points of law, however, the need for the additional living space and the people that it's going to take, and this was by the applicant's testimony, who is going to need to help take care of his wife, required that the daughter move in there to help with that care, which resulted in the children being with them. So, I mean, there's, and we have, it's the smallest house. There's not too much they can do other than add. So I just want everybody to take into consideration all the testimony that was heard this evening.
Madam Chair, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes.
I just thought maybe it's helpful to provide some numbers for context, some actual numbers. So, as we know, the existing structure is 1,236 square feet.
Oh, 1,236.
That's per the property card. The 40% requirement, if they were to comply, would be around 495 square feet. My understanding, based on what's represented in the application, is they're requesting an 864 square foot, which is about 70% of the primary dwelling. And I think it was your vice chairperson who pointed out that this board has the flexibility to decrease that number if you wanted to allow not 70, but more than 40. So.
Well, with that in mind, maybe you do want to send them back so they can withdraw and maybe they can come back.
And you can always request more information if that's needed for the board to make a decision, so.
But
I think it would be helpful to have more information about why this particular amount of bedrooms and why this, some of that information would be helpful.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think seeing, it is a large ask, and regardless of situations people are facing, we get that. I think seeing something that's akin to a floor plan possibly, or something to understand, not just that it's 3 bedrooms, but why it's 70% of the main dwelling. That's a large difference from the 40. So I think to be fair, because I'm really struggling with this. So understanding the circumstances, I get that. So
So, are we all in agreement of that we need more information?
Well, I think that it would behoove the applicant to go back and provide some documentation to us. Maybe their ask isn't for 864 feet, maybe it's somewhere between 495 and 864. Because I don't think 864 is gonna make it. So,
Can I speak?
They also could, I don't know what we talked a little
Or
about
we
the
can
current home. If the current home had more living space,
Well,
just saying.
right, then it wouldn't be an accessory dwelling unit.
Well, no, but I'm saying if.
Right, you just.
you put an
if the
addition on
home-
the home and then
Right,
you put the
right.
accessory
I'm just,
dwelling.
just different, if you have more space, you can have a bigger
Right.
accessory dwelling.
That's
Just the
correct.
point.
Correct, yeah. And I just wonder, considering that they only get one shot at this, that
Yeah.
we
Right.
want
if we turn them down, that's
them
it.
to get their best shot at this.
Okay.
so.
Okay, so we're in agreement of that. So
That's their decision.
Yes.
I'm gonna open this back up. So what we've discussed here this evening, you only, what we call one bite of the apple. You're only allowed to come before the board and ask for a certain whatever, one time. If there's not enough information, we can request that this is not, we won't vote tonight, and that you come back with more information for us, with exact numbers of what it is that you need. And this way, if you want to come back in front of us with better information and exact information on what it is you want to do, we can defer you to the next meeting, and we will not vote on it tonight. If you don't want to do that, then we will vote tonight, and whatever we vote on stands, and you can't come back before us. Would you like another opportunity to give us more information and come back for the next meeting?
If I can just interject.
Yeah.
If we deny it tonight, you can appeal it?
Come back next month.
I don't think they can never come back.
Guess they need more information.
It has to be substantially different.
Yes.
It has to be.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so, we have to, vote on that. Do I have
You'll
a
need to vote to continue to a date certain. The next meeting is April 16th.
April 16th?
Could we say one thing?
Are you gonna ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we already determined what's going to happen next. But I just wanted to bring up the fact, that adding all that, I get the point of we're asking for a lot, right, based on the percentage. But it still only puts the house just shy of 2,200 square feet, and I feel like the average house in New Hampshire is over 2,000,
It's not really about the size of your house, it's how you present, when you come back, have some exact numbers and more information so that we can make a decision with more information, because it's lacking. When we went into deliberations, we had some concerns that we might be missing something.
Okay.
So we're giving you the opportunity to give us more information,
Gotcha.
okay? So, do I have a motion to continue this to April 16th?
I'd like to make a motion to continue case number 319-2025-2 to the April 16th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So you will return April 16th. You'll be up again, and with more information as to what we're looking for, okay? Everything that we
Square
discussed
footage
tonight.
of the house?
Layout.
Well, we can
Lay-
provide all the floor plans, elevations,
Layout.
stuff like that.
And some floor plans,
Don't you
okay?
have all that? I
They
gave all
might.
that.
I
I
would-
gave the blueprints to the planning board.
You just voted, I wouldn't discuss anything else.
Yeah,
All right,
We're happy to work with the applicant.
yes, thank you. Okay,
all right, thank you. So April 16th,
April 16th.
back.
Are you ready for the next case?
Ready for the next case?
Case number 319-2025-3, request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.1.b to allow one identification sign exceeding 6 square feet, whereas one identification sign not exceeding 6 square feet is allowed. Parcel is located at 347 Rockham Road in the R3 zoning district, tax map 17, lot 17. Tybalt Corporation of New England, owner, and Turn One Graphics applicant. Madam Chair, the next two cases also relate to this. Do you want to read them together?
Yes, please.
Okay. Case number 319-2025-4, a request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.1.d to allow one detached identification sign exceeding a height of 6 feet, whereas one detached identification sign not exceeding 6 feet in height is allowed. The parcel is located at 347 Rockingham Road in the R3 zoning district, tax map 17, lot 17, Tybalt Corporation of New England, owner, and Turn One Graphics applicant. Case number 319-2025-5, a request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.1.e to allow one identification sign where 15 feet of the property line, whereas no sign shall be located nearer than 15 feet to the property line. Parcel is located at 347 Rockingham Road in the R3 zoning district, tax map 17, lot 17, Tybalt Corporation of New England, owner, and Turn One Graphics applicant.
You need Google to come out and do an update on your photo. Because it looks a whole
Yeah.
lot better than that picture. We're looking at.
We had some problems with that, so.
So please state your name
Yep,
and address for the record.
Yep, my name is Mark Kusan. I live at 53 Farmer Road in Hooksett, New Hampshire. I'm the owner of Turn One Graphics and Iconic Signworks. I'm here on behalf of Genlico Inc., the tenant in the building, Thibodeau Corporation, the owner of the building, and ourselves as the engineers and installers of the new signs.
Would you like to give any background, or do you want to just go into the 5 points of law?
I have some handouts that I didn't get to submit earlier, if I could.
Okay,
hand these
so
out.
we have it for everybody, right?
I have 5 total.
Okay,
so
perfect.
That work? All right.
Yep.
I hope it's a picture of a sign.
So there's.
We can share. Lisa, give Lisa one.
There's my 5 points, and there's some pictures of the property.
Thank you.
Yep, you can share.
Also, on the second page stapled, there is a copy of the Massachusetts state law, that I believe is relevant.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, could you label your copy so I can
Sure
take it
can.
for the record?
So we'll mark the photograph. We have a series of, it looks like 3 photographs and then a signed detail. We'll mark that as Exhibit A. And then there's it looks like the 5 points of law are written out, and then there's a non-conforming structures RSA, and then it's attached to an RSA related to the applicability of zoning ordinances. Those 2 pages are stapled together. We'll mark those 2 pages combined as Exhibit B.
Back to 17. Should have the sign memorized by now.
Property one.
They are vaguely different in the package.
Is that green line the property line?
It's probably not accurate. This
Okay,
is just an
I'm like-
estimate.
Well, I know half of it's in Londonderry and half of it's in Manchester.
Yes, so, yes, it's more of, that's where the town line is.
Okay,
And then
excellent.
that's the separator of the Londonderry property portion.
Okay.
So will you be reading from your actual application, or are you going to?
I think I'm going to be reading from this. The application, when we submitted it, was, I was actually on vacation and had to do it remote. So it was kind of done a little rushed.
Okay.
I actually don't have copies of the application because they were submitted and we never got any copies back.
Okay. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna read into the record the
Okay.
handwritten one, and then you can continue on to what we have labeled Exhibit B, okay?
Yep, okay. So which one did you want me to read first?
Number one, that's handwritten.
Oh, this
That's
one
the
here?
only thing that's filled in, yes.
Okay. When you're saying handwritten, the paper I just handed you out, or the
Well, also this.
one that was just given to me?
The one that was just given to you.
Okay. All right. So, fact one is that the sign has been in its current location as it stands for many years. It is not contrary to the public interest. On the contrary, its height and location allow for information to be presented to the public while it maintains a clear view of traffic traveling on the bend of the road. The work proposed to the sign does not alter its current configuration or use. It does, however, clean it up and make it more visually appealing, such as much of the work recently done on the property does. Geez, I need glasses.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that's all on this little thing.
right, so now you will go, well, what,
I think those are the
That's-
5 points. that
right,
they're-
but Exhibit B is different from what we're seeing on our screen.
Yeah, this one I kind of wrote today because I didn't have copies of this. so-
Okay, so you're gonna have to read all of it in the record then.
No problem.
So where do you wanna start?
Let me give you a little history on the property and then get into this. All right, so we were called by Genlico, they're the new tenants of the building, and I think many of you will probably know this property as the
Yes.
broken down,
In front of this board before.
rundown property. We used that as a landmark ourselves as the old broken down property behind the yard when we were going through the area, so.
You can't say that anymore.
I know, yeah. The tenant and the property owner have put substantial work into the property and cleaning it up. At this point, the only thing left is really the sign. It is solid, it is structural. I have inspected the footings and the structure, and it's not going anywhere. It's a very solid structure. The only thing we're actually looking to do is change the sign faces. There was previously 2 sign cabinets. The lower one has been removed, and only the upper sign cabinet remains, which actually reduces the original square footage. So we're not looking to alter the sign or its use or anything else. We're just looking to change the sign faces. But the way the town ordinance is written, it states even a change of copy, which would mean if someone changed their phone number, they could make you move the entire structure, which is where I kind of spoke to someone at the state, being a state road, and they directed me to RSA 674, which states a zoning ordinance adopted under RSA 674-16 shall not apply to existing structures or the existing use of any building. It also applies to outstructures and things on the property meant for the property use. It shall apply to any altercation of the building. So basically, if the structure is not being altered or its use, the original design and engineering of the structure is as a changeable face sign to demonstrate to the community the tenant in the building. So we're not changing use at this point. The location of the sign, I think, was originally designed because where the building sits and the hill kind of seems like a hill behind it, going back to the setbacks I just witnessed on the last case, really isn't possible. We either put the sign in the middle of the parking lot or in the building. So the sign was originally situated somewhat behind the telephone pole and in an area where it's blocked, but it still leaves a nice easement for fire apparatuses and emergency vehicles, which is another reason that we filed an electrical permit to move the power from the top of the sign hanging in the air underground to allow for fire apparatuses to go through and leave an open fire lane. So I guess the tenant and building owner's point is that the sign has been there for decades, and moving it would cost tens of thousands of dollars. When speaking to the town building inspector, he actually brought up the point to us that lowering it to the town's height requirements would actually cause an obstruction of view of traffic, and where it sits now keeps that view open with the bend of the road. There's like a bit of a bend of the road there for not only traffic coming in both directions, but turning and entering out of that parking lot and the one on the other side of the street. And other than that, I guess we just got our 5 points of law.
Okay, which one do you wanna do first?
I'll read the first one in. Do you want me to read number 1 again, or just go right to number 2?
So, well, we've got Exhibit B, and we also have what's in the application, so.
Okay.
Facts supporting this request, you might as well start right there.
Okay, so I read number 1 already, and then number 1 on my other side was, I kind of went through the 5 points of law again today, where the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. It will not negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood. The structure is pre-existing and is similar in height to signs on the surrounding properties. The structure allows a clear view of traffic on the road, also for traffic turning and exiting traffic into the business and onto the roadway.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. So he's, just for the record, he's reading Exhibit B that he gave us?
Yes.
Okay.
The structure's location allows clear travel for fire and emergency apparatuses, as well as police and other vehicles between the building and the sign structure, which basically maintains a fire lane, where moving the sign would block a fire lane. Number 2 on, I guess we call this Exhibit A. In the spirit of the town ordinance, the cosmetic upgrades to the new sign faces create a more visually pleasing sign in its long-standing location. This is a visual improvement from its current weathered and poor visual appearance. The proposed visual changes are improvements for anyone traveling past the property. This is achieved with only cosmetic changes and no changes to the structure or its intended use as a changeable face sign structure. And I think
So you're going back and forth, so,
I'm kind of doing 1, 2, 3, but reading both in, or do you want me to do them completely separately?
you do one page, 1 to 5,
Okay,
and then
sure.
go to the other page?
Yep.
Because we have to just get through this.
Yeah, okay. And then the first one is, not a problem, I understand. Number
I'm
3.
going back and forth, and I just want to make sure that we get everything in the record, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Number 3, in granting the variance, substantial justice is achieved. That's really all I put in that. When the cosmetic improvement shall benefit the town and passers-by with more visually pleasant sign, while avoiding the major hardship that physical changes to the structure would create for the property owner and tenant. Number 4, the value of surrounding properties are not diminished. Cosmetic improvements proposed will create a more visually appealing view from the current look and condition of the structure. Number 5, literal enforcement of the ordinance as it is written would create an unnecessary hardship on the property owner and tenant, as moving the legally erected structure would create a large and unnecessary cost. The structure was originally legally erected to contain removable, replaceable sign faces that display the name and business occupancy, the building to the general public and passing traffic. This structure was designed and built with faces that could be changed for maintenance and update based on the current tenant in the building. Granting this variance will not change the original intended use of the structure. Based on this and on other surrounding properties also having changed the copy on their sign faces without major alteration to the structures, it would be considered reasonable to grant the variance.
All right, and go
That's
into your Exhibit B.
Which is probably very similar. So I already.
You gave it to us.
Yeah, no, I know, because
All on you,
I
sir.
honestly, like I said, I was in Vermont and I wrote this on a laptop and sent it in, so I'm like, I don't remember what's on there. So, again, I already touched on 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest and it will not negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood. The structure is pre-existing and is similar in height to signs on surrounding properties. The structure allows clear view of traffic on the road and turning and exiting into businesses. The structure's location allows clear travel for fire and emergency vehicles to pass between the building and the sign structure. Number 2, the variance will be consistent with the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance. The structure will have a drastically improved visual appearance. The structure will continue to be in a place and height that maintains traffic safety. Number 3, the variance will ensure substantial justice is done considering the rights of the property owner and the interests of the community. The existing sign will have an improved appearance and maintain a clear view of traffic. The variance will not diminish the value of surrounding properties. The sign structure is similar to signs on surrounding properties. The applicant demonstrates that the strict application of the zoning ordinance would create an unnecessary hardship for the property owner. The sign exists and falls in line with the State of New Hampshire Protected Grandfathered Structures Ordinance. Moving or altering the structure would create a large unnecessary expense, as well move it closer to the building, blocking passage. It would also cause potential loss of visibility past the sign for traffic. There is no change of use, as the structure was constructed with changeable sign faces meant to display the business that occupies the building to the community and passing traffic. And I already read the non-conforming RSA, so I think we can
We're good now.
get past that.
Are there any, thank goodness,
Yeah.
any questions from the board at this time?
Are we just doing the first one?
Yes.
I have one question. Is the current sign completely located within the town of Londonderry?
We believe so. It is, looks, by the marker, it's about 6 inches over the town line.
Into Manchester?
Into
Or into
Londonderry,
Londonderry?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
How big is the sign?
The sign face is 52 inches by 101 inches, which I believe is 35.7 square feet.
And how tall is it?
It is somewhere between 12 and 14 square feet. We don't have the exact height.
Okay.
We didn't erect it, so,
It's more than 6.
yes.
Was the first case for the detached sign, or for, there's the sign also?
It's
on
all
the-
for the one sign.
But the
This is-
first
But
one,
we have
the
to,
first one is for the size, which is
For
why
the
I understand
size.
what
The size,
Yeah.
which was a little confusing to me with the 6 square feet written on here, because there's no signs in the area. 6 square feet is about this big.
We'll do height and then do looking.
That's 6 square feet. So I don't think, you recognize there's no businesses in the area that have.
And that's
a
why
sign
everyone
small.
comes here for sign
Uh-huh.
variances.
Yeah.
That's why everyone is here for a sign variance.
so you don't know how big your sign is? that you're
The sign
proposing?
face is 35.7 square feet. It's 51 inches by 101 inches.
I was not sure how tall it is,
Okay.
but it's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's around 14
We might
feet
have a
tall,
hard
it would be my
time
guess.
rendering a decision if we don't actually know how tall it is.
Correct. You never wanted to measure it?
Honestly, it wasn't relevant to what we're doing. We're just changing a sign face on an existing structure, so we don't usually go and measure the height of these things.
But you're
The
filing
buil-
an application for height, size.
I
height.
did, the building inspector kind of helped us through that. I had somebody go down there, like I said, I was out of state at the time. Honestly, I've owned a sign company in New Hampshire for 28 years, and I've never run into these problems with an existing structure. It's on a state highway, and it's covered under the New Hampshire RSA grandfathering for an accessory structure on the building. It has structural footings, structural uprights, and is considered a legal structure.
So a town can make their ordinances more restrictive.
They,
To a
they,
certain-
they can, but the ordinance actually has precedence over that.
Yes. To some degree.
So we're not here to debate.
No, I understand.
On
I'm just
that
saying
issue.
that's their
So-
standpoint, yeah.
What we have to do is,
Mm-hmm.
this board is deemed to use what rules we have that we must follow.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That
No, I
the town
understand.
of Londonderry gives us. So you're here before because not everything fits nicely in a box. So this is a box that doesn't fit nicely. One of the big problems is you don't even really know how high it is to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'd say 14 to 15 feet would be pretty accurate.
well, that's a guess.
Right. Well, it's actually a guess based on going up on it in a bucket truck and how far my pole was extended. So I was about half staff,
Well,
which is about 14 feet.
Okay.
Do you have a suggestion?
I just wanted to point out, because some discussion was had about the 6 feet, this is zoned residential. So this is an R3 zone, so it's
Oh.
not like we're arbitrarily assigning 6 feet to a commercial area. It's zoned multifamily residential,
It's still residential. Yep.
so.
Interesting.
But I will point out there are no residences abutting the
Other than
property that I can
Manchester
see.
across the street, yes, those are the only residences right there.
I have no issue with it, but we do need to know how tall it is, because if we're going to render a decision, we need to
Yep.
say we can't just say the way it currently is.
Right.
Oh,
So,
Everything we used for our designs and wind load measurements, we were using 15 feet. I know it's not over that.
okay.
so you want to take a chance that we're going to use a guesstimate to rule on this? Or would
I
you
mean,
like the opportunity
I can
to
come back if you prefer
with
that
an exact
information.
measurement
I can do
for
that
this
for you.
particular variance?
Yep, I can do that for you if it's preferred. I mean, I'd say
I'm
I'm within
giving you the
12 inches.
option.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're saying I should. So.
Giving you the
So, I mean, in
option.
that case, yes. I don't want to screw stuff for my client. I mean, I know I'm within a foot. So, but yeah, I'd be more than happy to bring that back.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Is it for all three?
No,
No, we're gonna do
Well, it's
this
up to
one
him.
first.
It's up to
he's
him.
coming back, maybe.
Well,
So right now, we're on size of sign, not height, I think, right?
Yeah.
C is size of sign, D is height of sign.
Yeah, so we should be able to get the first one if it's the size, because it's not the height. Height is the next one.
the height is the next one.
Right, that's D.
And use location.
Right.
And let's see, use
We
location.
finally got there. You'll get it.
It's kind of a little confusing because there's three things for one structure.
We got it.
Yep.
We're good. But, so I guess we're on size. So 6 feet, so what it's allowed, it's 35.7 feet, but it has been there for a long time.
All right, so. All right, so this first one is,
It's gotta predate zoning.
yeah. So this one is about size. All right, so we can continue with this first one for size. We'll bring up how high it is in your next case. Any other questions for the applicant? What is the material that this will be made of?
The sign face we'll be placing in will be digitally printed acrylic. The rest of the sign structure is concrete footing, steel poles, and an aluminum sign cabinet.
And will it be lit?
It is lit. It has always been lit.
And it will be lit all the time?
I would assume, well, we'll be putting a light timer on it, so it comes on at dusk,
Okay,
goes off during light. The particular sign design, as you can see in there, though, is kind of a dark background, so it's not a strong lighting sign. So one of the things I recommend to them, just because of where it is with the roadway, is that we made the sign not as bright. So the particular print with the blue and everything will probably have about 30 to 35% light transmission over a typical white-faced sign.
anyone have any other questions? On number 5, what is your hardship?
The hardship is that the structure is pre-existing. It was legally erected where it is and should be grandfathered under state RSAs. To move the sign would create several hardships. One, the cost. It would cost tens of thousands of dollars to take that down, dig out footings, and move it. And then the layout of the land, it's a long but narrow strip. So we believe that's why it was priced where it is. If you look back, if we moved that back another 15 feet, it would be in the building or directly in front of the entry door or in the middle of the parking lot, which would not create a safe situation. It would encroach on fire lanes, or it would be an issue where vehicles were trying to move around it, entering and exit the roadway.
So I'm glad that you decided to add that second part, because the first
Yes.
part about cost really is not a hardship, and that's not one of the 5 criteria.
Right, I
But you
understand.
covered yourself by
Yep.
this last part, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, I'm going to bring it out to the audience. Is there anyone in favor of the applicant that would like to speak? Let the record show that there is no one approaching. Anyone in opposition? There is no one approaching. Is there any other questions of the applicant? Okay, we'll close this part of the hearing. Do you have to hash anything out, or are we good to go to 5 points of law? 5, ready? Okay.
Granting the variance would or would not be contrary to the public interest because
I would say would not.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree, it's not.
Doesn't alter the character of the neighborhood.
I agree with that.
spirit of the ordinance would not be observed because I would say it would.
Agreed.
Larger sign face doesn't threaten health, safety, or public welfare.
No, it does not. And that's a sharp bend right there too, and there's a lot of traffic. It actually is protecting people.
Granting the variance would or would not do substantial justice because I would say
Loss
it
to the
would.
applicant is greater than.
Agreed.
Agreed.
The applicant's greater than the gain.
For the following reasons, the values of surrounding properties would or would not be diminished.
Would not be.
I would say would
Would
not.
not.
Nothing about
Agreed.
that sign that would impact, diminish.
Owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because there is or is not a fair and substantial relationship between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because
I would say is not.
Well, there's not.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agree. For the reason,
Right. The property shape, location.
Location and property shape.
correct. I agree.
Proposed use is or is not a reasonable one.
We all know.
It is.
Signs are reasonable.
Signs are
That's our
reasonable.
favorite answer.
Comments, restrictions.
Do we have any?
I would just mention the size of the sign, which is
Okay.
37 point what?
37.5 square feet.
0.5 square feet.
Yes.
Not
Which-
to exceed 37.5
Which is a
square feet.
reduction in size from its original size. There was an additional sign underneath that was about
Yeah,
2 feet by 9 feet, and that's been removed. So it's actually smaller than the original sign.
Okay, so we're still.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion in case number 319-2025-3 to grant the request for a variance with the restriction that the sign face not exceed 37.5 square feet.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rob.
On a roll.
Skipping to E.
I know.
right?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So we're skipping to E, right?
Well, we gotta do a motion
We
on.
gotta do a
We
motion,
gotta do a continuation, yeah, continuance, I'm sorry.
I always get so.
and then we'll skip to E.
37.5 square feet.
Yeah, two.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to case 319-2025-4.
So we need a motion, Madam Chair,
So-
right?
I'll have you read it into the record, and then I'll ask the applicant if he'd like to
Continue.
continue until April 16th.
Case number 319-2025-4, request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.1.d to allow one detached identification sign exceeding height of 6 feet, whereas one detached identification sign not exceeding the height of 6 feet is allowed. Parcel is located 347 Rockingham Road in the AR3 zoning district, tax map 17, lot 17, Tibble Corporation of New England, owner and Turn 1 Graphics applicant.
Would you like to continue, sir, until
Yes.
April 16th?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion to continue case number 319-2025-4 to the April 16th meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mitch. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ready for the last one?
Well, let's do it.
Case number 319-2025-5, a request for a variance from LZO section 7.6.d.1.e to allow one identification sign within 15 feet of the property line, whereas no sign shall be located nearer than 15 feet to the property line. The parcel is located at 347 Rockingham Road in the R3 zoning district, tax map 17, lot 17, Tibble Corporation of New England, owner and Turn 1 Graphics applicant.
You gonna read again?
You submitted exactly the same, I believe?
Yes.
It's the same language.
Okay, it's the same language. Very good. All right, so,
We kind of looked at it as one sign face, one structure, so.
okay.
We do it differently here.
Yeah.
3 variances.
For this one, because it's
where it's placed, so
Setback.
location. Do you want to comment on anything about the location? That
Yeah,
might
I'll
be different
throw
compared
this-
to
I'll
how
throw
big
this
it
one
was.
out there before, so I do not know the exact location of the property line. I normally, when we are measuring signs and we have setbacks, they are actually based off the edge of the road, like the original person that had a setback issue. So based on that and where it was shown before, we are not aware of where the actual property line is. So I will not be able to say the exact distance from the property line. Again, normally when we go for these things, these are pre-existing things, they're automatically grandfathered. We're not required to get that kind of information unless we're constructing or altering something new. So, but if the
Well,
board.
this is your lucky night.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But, no, you guys have been very reasonable with everything, so I'm not complaining. But if you would like that detailed information, I'd be more than happy, since I have to come back, I'd be more than happy to get it for you. If you,
I imagine the property owner must have a survey that came with a deed
I
or some
would,
kind
I
of
would
survey
assume
information.
so,
Or
but
you
I
have a
would assume they're very
GIS.
old, yeah. Because I'm looking at this and I'm not sure what the line there is.
It'll be the GIS like
Yeah.
Kelly pulled up for the prior, or you pulled up for the prior
Right.
We don't
petition.
really like to rely on GIS maps.
It
They
really
can
should be
be-
a survey, but
Really,
Yeah, they can be a little off. And this one is actually pretty far out there, so I don't know if you might want that information. We can get it for you.
Do we want to move this one to the?
Do we
next
have
meeting?
any questions of the applicant for this part?
I don't.
All right, I'm gonna take it out to the audience. Is there anyone in favor that would like to speak? Let the record show there is no one left in the room other than us. So there is no one in opposition at this
It's gonna be
time.
a small number,
All right, do we have any other questions?
like 2 feet.
Kelly, how old is this property?
Oh.
Do you know? On this one? Is it the 60s or the 50s?
Yeah.
Well, I moved here in '79 and it was there.
That's why I was saying 50s, but.
And empty
was a
too,
child,
and
I was a
empty too,
child.
I think.
Okay,
I believe it says 50.
50.
1950.
Okay, very good, all right. So I'm not too far off.
You got in the
am I?
range just
Okay.
barely.
I'm pretty sure for a great time of that, it was like the local
I
town
think your
dump.
number is gonna be single digit.
That's pre-zoning, just
Yes.
for the record.
Exactly, okay. All right, so since we have no other further questions, I will close this part of the public hearing. Do we have to talk about anything, or can we just go into
Are we
5
gonna do
points?
this without the distance?
Yeah, I think we need the
You
distance.
say
we need the
approximately
height.
You want the
15,
distance, too?
Otherwise,
We
you
need
have to say
that.
approximately
Otherwise, we
15
can just
feet.
move
We
him to
don't
the
really
next,
know,
we can
right?
ask him if he wants to go to, he seemed willing to go to
Yeah.
the next.
He's gotta come back.
Yeah, he's gonna
anyway.
come back anyways, okay. So I'm gonna open it back up. Would you like to continue to April 16th with the exact
Yes.
property line? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion in case number 319-2025-5 to continue the case to the April 16th meeting.
And do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Suzanne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See you on the 16th.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all for your time. I know you're all volunteers and have families to get home
Thank
to.
you.
What's that?
We appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on the agenda?
Okay.
She's her ABs.
Next on the agenda, do we have any communication or miscellaneous that we have to go over that you know of, Kelly?
None this evening, Madam Chair.
Okay. Other business?
I was gonna say, we had like a great training, I think it was a year or two ago now. We have a couple, I don't know if you made it, I think you just missed that training we
Must have
had.
just missed it.
Any chance we could do that again?
Sure.
I mean, is anyone else interested?
I would love to.
Really?
The guy did a really good job. I
Yeah,
still
he
have
was-
this
he was
packet.
excellent.
You mean Attorney Buckley? Or our
Have-
NHMA or our legal?
I can't remember who it was, like, oh,
thought
she's
it
the
was-
packet,
He-
hold on.
I thought it was Buckley.
Must
And
have
he
read
came
before
here,
you-
yeah.
You just missed it, I think you
Yeah.
came in the next.
Yes,
November
Stephen
or
Buckley.
something.
And it was 2023,
Wow.
February.
2 years.
Oh, it's time to do that then now, isn't it?
I think it was
Time
good,
for a refresher.
Especially for new members, and
Came in November,
refresher's
came
great.
We'll make the request.
New planning books.
Yes.
Okay.
We may need more copies, though.
What's that?
We may need more copies.
Okay. Yeah, because those are our originals, yeah.
And is there any update on the zoning ordinances? The last one I have is amended through June 6, 2022.
That's the one.
That's the one I have
That's the
too.
most current.
Yeah,
Okay,
Very good.
perfect. Any other business?
not official.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.
Do we have